you're probably measuring the wrong thing.
Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing something different again. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of a story of something that happened with our client. So we signed this new client. They make over 500K a month beauty space, and they sell in a European country in physical locations, the equivalent of we have that client and we were working with them, and someone else was doing their email marketing before us. And we decided to change a few things about their segmentation in order to make them more money and more revenue. We've been working with them for 6 weeks, something like this. And then the client noticed that, for example, the placed order percentage, based on how many emails we send, what is the percentage of people that place an order has gone down, and that the open rates have also gone down because they were at above 40%. So we went a little bit more broad with the segmentation. And it meant that we were just sending more emails, which actually increased the total revenue from emails. But from the client's perspective, it's really bad because they are thinking about meta ads. And this is an interesting difference between people who have a meta ads, maybe dropshipping mindset potentially, because this client has been transitioning for the past few years from being one of those dropshipping guys to being a proper e-com brand owner who has like long-term vision. And we really like working with this client. And I think they have some of the best mindsets that I've ever seen from an e-com store owner. So from their perspective, oh my God, the emails per email, we make less money, less percentage of people placing an order. That has to be a bad thing. And also the open rates have been going down. So that's also a bad tendency. So technically engagement and revenue are both going down. What's going on? And then he sent me, usually they're like level-headed and stuff, but he sent me this long message about like breaking down like why the numbers are really bad. And that he mentioned in his message that, I don't know, like we can continue for the next few weeks, but this has to change. And also maybe we need to change agencies. So I was like, okay, let's talk about this for a little bit. So first of all, the open rates have gone down from 40% to 32%, which we agreed with my team that we should use different segments because the segments that we were using for those 2-3 weeks was maybe a little bit less engagement than what we were expecting, like something along those lines. And I agreed that it's bad that he noticed this and not us. So we should notice those tendencies earlier. So that is something that I agreed with. And also, I think the account manager who was working on the account, for example, used the segment a lot of times. So the solution was also to go both more narrow and more broad. So something that I like to do with segmentation is actually I like to send maybe 2 campaigns a month to the whole list. And the reason why is because we want to give everyone a chance to engage. And if you send a re-engagement campaign to, let's say, the most unengaged people, it will definitely have a really low open rate. So then you might as well just send the most important email campaign that month, which is usually some kind of a sale, Black Friday, I don't know. Now it's July 4th sale, or for example, in Hungary, there's August 20. Maybe you can do a sale around that. And then the opening email, we like to send it to everybody because it's the best team or probably best performing campaign of the month. And it's the best offer. Offers just work, incentives. We offer discounts that will usually get some good results. And it gives a lot of people on the list to an opportunity to engage with our emails. So that way we re-engage a lot of them. So there's something that you will see on one of my segmentation videos on YouTube if you check my channel. I think I made 2 or 3 at least super deep dive into segmentation. Something that we look at is like Klaviyo left-hand side analytics. And then you can run an engagement report on any of your segments. Like you go to your segments and then you click on the top right-hand corner, the 3 dots. And then there should be like an option asking you like, do you want to run an engagement report? And then that way you can see those, like what percentage of those people were contacted in the last 30 days. Anyone that says, by the way, oh, don't contact the whole list. It's like, okay, but then do you actually engage your whole list? Because otherwise, if you don't engage your whole list, you're paying a super big Klaviyo bill, which is becoming more and more expensive. Let's say for this client, for example, they have 100,000 people on their email list, give or take. And there's like maybe 30,000 people that are not super engaged. So if you're not sending to all active, that means that you would need to send some kind of re-engagement campaign, which is going to have a 5 to 10% open rate at best. And then you're like paying for a Klaviyo plan, which is 30,000 bigger than what you need to for no fucking reason. So yeah, that's just like the thinking behind it. So something that I like to do these days. So 2026 July, something like that. Oh yeah, and by the way, why should you listen to me? So yeah, in the past, we've been doing email marketing for e-com stores and brands for over 9 years now. including 2 Fortune 500 companies. And I think we helped over 300 brands at this point. And this is like email marketing is our bread and butter. We don't do ads. We don't do Pinterest. We don't do TikTok. We just do email marketing, mostly Klaviyo. Okay. So what I like to do with segmentation strategy is figure out a segment that should be the master segment. So that should be usually a segment that gets consistently above 35% open rates, which is the sweet spot at the moment. Like Klaviyo for some reason says like, oh, it needs to be like 40%, which maybe, yeah, it's good. It's up to you how engaged you want to be or how much of a good boy you want to be, I would say. In my opinion, above 35% consistently is a good segment to select. So maybe that's engaged 90 or engaged 30. I don't know. It depends on the engagement level of your list. And then, okay, that's your master segment, which in my opinion should like maybe over half of the emails should go to. That's just my current opinion. Okay. And it's just how we like to do it because that will lead to good opens and also pretty good placed order rates. So the conditions that I would like to add to this segment is someone that can receive emails and either of the following things. If any of the following things definitely can receive emails, so Klaviyo is good at determining who can receive emails and who can't. So that's like conditioning the segment to only be true for people who you can legally contact. And then any of the following can be true. So for example, if we're creating engaged 30 segment, then open the email at least once in the last 30 days. Click the email at least once in the last 30 days. Again, any of these can be true. Checkout started at least once in the last 30 days. Expected date of next order is in the next 30 days, or created in the last 30 days, or active on site in the last 30 days. So if any of these things are true, I would consider them an engaged 30 person on your list. And something that I would also include that I like to do is, for example, this client sells a consumable product, okay? So I would include some VIPs. So what is a VIP? That kind of depends on your list. For this client, the way we determine it is someone that placed an order at least twice. So that might be different for different stores. Let's say if you have a really wide range of tickets, like in terms of like you have products for $10, but also $2,000, then maybe it can be like someone that spent over $1,000. It can also be done. Usually I think if you're really not sure and you're just whatever, I don't want to think about like, what is a VIP? In my opinion, a returning customer is a VIP. In my opinion, someone that bought twice from you could be considered a VIP or is someone that I would send a lot of emails to. And again, if they bounce or they unsubscribe, we should be cleaning the list. And I made another deep dive to list cleaning in another video, so you can check that one out. Just go to my channel and search list cleaning. Okay, pretty sure I did that to one of the titles. So yeah, and if not, then I will urgently make one. Yeah, let me know. Okay, so yeah, like I would include those people as well who placed an order at least twice. So let's say that this engaged 30 plus VIP plus expected date of next order in the next 30 days is your master segment. So let's say if you send 15 campaigns a month, I would send 2 to all active, which is the 2 biggest like sale, something like this. It could also be like a new product announcement, anything like that, anything important. The 2 emails that you would like everyone to see basically on your campaign calendar. And then I would send 8 to this master list. And then the rest of the segments you can vibe with, let's put it that way. So it could be, for example, cross sells. So for example, this client has 3 really big products. So a lot of their sales come from the sale of these 3 products. So what we do is, oh, you bought product number 1. This is something that many people buy together with that one. Like maybe, I don't know, a t-shirt, like a yellow t-shirt, or like same material, but white color pants. Like it goes really well with this yellow t-shirt, for example. Okay. Or yeah, I think you can, by the way, look at your product combinations. I think on Shopify and on places like Metoric, for example, is another good Shopify tool. Maybe Triple Wheel as well, but I'm not sure. Actually, that's something that I would like to look into and I'll ask my team about it. So with that being the case, yeah, like the rest of the emails, you can do whatever you think is best. Maybe it could be like to another engaged list, but maybe a little bit broader, which means that probably the open rates will be a little bit lower, but also we engage a bigger portion of your list. So maybe that can be engaged 90 for a couple of those emails. Maybe it can be window shoppers is another interesting segment. And in general, I just really like the cross-sell segments. But just a quick caveat here. So we tested this so many times, and we will do that. We will do that for this client because they've been pushy about this. So we will do that. But just letting you know, in general, 9 out of 10 times when we did this, it led to lower revenue than if we just focus on the, let's say, a little bit of all active, most of it in the master segment, which is like the sweet spot segment, we could call it, and maybe some other engaged things that are in between, let's say, the master segment and all active. So in my opinion, like if you just ask me what leads to the best results, I would just be mostly doing that unless there's like a really clear cross-sell opportunity, or like maybe you have some sort of a ladder of offers, like maybe info products or whatever, like you have a introduction offer for like a lower ticket, and then you clearly have to upsell something. Usually in e-commerce, I haven't seen those cross-sell emails perform that well. This is just my experience. And as I said, we worked with over 300 brands, and a lot of them asked us to do this. But yeah, that's my expectation, but sometimes it can work. So let's see if it works for this client. And one more thing that I wanted to mention with this, which is, so I actually got back to the client about, hey, so I understand, by the way, I don't think placed order percentage is a good metric. So I think a lot of times when I speak with e-com owners, you're not focusing on the correct metrics. So there's a lot of metrics that you could be focusing on. And there's a lot of them that don't really matter that much. Like if I offered you option 1, we have a super high placed order rate, but we make 10K from email. Let's say specific examples. Would you rather that we get you a 1% placed order percentage from campaigns and we made you $10,000 from email? Or would you rather we make you 20K from email and 0.5% placed order percentage? Which one would you prefer? Correct answer was the second one, okay? Because we made you more money and we didn't burn down the list. Obviously, if you told me what is the best segmentation strategy if I just want to make as much money as possible right now this month, I would send every email to all active, because the more people you send emails to, the more money you will make. So the actual real reason for segmentation is that you want to maintain high open rates. That is the two main KPIs that really matter is how much money did we make you and what were the open rates, in that order, okay? So with that being the case, I said it a lot today, fuck. Okay, great. That was a great silence. So that is the actual reason for segmentation. But if you send every email to all active, you will probably burn down the list, unless you have an insanely engaged email list, in which case you don't even need to segment that much, in my opinion. And yeah, obviously, if you're Zara, you should or Gymshark, you should probably segment your list. But we have clients who, they have a YouTube channel with tens of thousands of viewers, they get a lot of organic traffic, and basically everyone that's on our email list is likely to engage. And when we send to all active, we get 50% opens. Why would we send to less people if that's the case? And obviously we do list cleaning. Like if someone bounces, someone marks you as spam, Klaviyo, by the way, automatically suppresses a lot of those people. You don't need to worry about that, but in general, like list cleaning is good. Like for example, something that I like to do in list cleaning is someone that received at least 10 emails and never engaged, never opened an email, never clicked, never checkout started, never abandoned their cart, never placed order. And you can safely suppress those people, okay? So just to close off this little story. So what I told the client is like, listen, I agree with the open rate part, although I think it's a little bit like overreaction because the open rates went down a little bit over 2 weeks, not 4 months. And it didn't go down from 40% to 20%. It went down to 32, which I agree is still like a relatively big drop. So we will definitely pay attention to that. But a placed order percentage, I just disagree with that feedback because it's just not that important because we made more money for them from campaigns. And something else that I said is, by the way, can I have some feedback for you? I understand that e-com is up and down and emotional and this is your baby. And these guys work so hard to build this company over the last 10 years or so. I've seen how hard they hustle. Please don't threaten that you're going to leave our agency because the open rates dropped a little bit up for 2 weeks. It just doesn't establish a super good working relationship. Obviously, we do something for them. They pay us money. From a certain point of view, like I like to think that we work together with our clients, like we are a partnership rather than I work for them or like we work for them. But I understand at the end of that's just the power dynamic of like they pay us money, we do things for them. I like to have a long-term strategy. Like every time like some metric drops a little bit, then you're threatening like, oh, maybe I will have to leave and like all of this to motivate us to, because we're motivated, don't worry. And we've been sending them a lot of updates and we're doing a lot of work for them. So just don't threaten that you will leave just because. And then he agreed that he was overreacting. So it's just a little bit of a story that I wanted to share with you guys today. And I hope you got some value out of the segmentation tips and things of that nature. If you got this far in the video, much love. Thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment and share and all these good things. And I'll see you in the next one.